Welcome. In this playthrough of Marvel Champions, a card game, we have Ant-Man taking on Red Skull in Expert Mode. For our setup with the Red Skull, we're using versions 2 and 3. He gets +1 attack for each side scheme in play, and when revealed, deal each player an encounter card, health of 16, scheme of 3, and attack of 1. His first of 2 main schemes, like I said, we're using Skull 2 and 3. We've got the standard sets, the expert sets, and 2 modular sets, Hydra Assault and Hydra Patrol. For setup, we're going to put the Red House into play, shuffle every other side scheme into a separate deck, then we'll set the Sleeper aside out of play. Then we got a threshold of 8. It's a force response. After resolving step 1 of the villain phase, reveal the top card of the side scheme deck and put it into play. So the Red House comes out with 3 threat on it. Red Skull cannot take damage. As an interrupt, when a character thwarts this side scheme, they may use their attack instead of their thwart. And the Sleeper, which is getting set out of play, scheme of 1, attack of 3, is going to have 5 health. Guard, retaliate 1, and toughness. When revealed, he engages the first player, and when defeated, remove him from the game. And Ant-Man, using the Power of Justice, I'll go over deck construction at the end of the video. He's got a thwart of 2, attack of 1, defense of 2. He's a puny pest. A response after you change to this form, remove a threat from a scheme, hand size of 5 and hit points of 12. Alter Ego, recovery of 3. Time to unwind as a response after you change to this form, heal 1 damage from Scott Lang, hand size of 6. And his giant form, thwart of 1, attack of 3, defense of 3. It's a giant nuisance. As a response after you change to this form, deal 1 damage to an enemy in a hand size of 4. All right, so finish up, set up, shuffle and counter stack. We get an encounter card. Never a good way to start a game. Got our side schemes. Stack here. We'll give it a shuffle. And Scott Lang starts with 6 cards. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're looking at Swarm Tactics, Heroic Intuition, Skilled Investigator, Giant Stomp, Helicarrier, and Spycraft. And these aren't going to help me get set up. These are good for the long game, so 4 more cards. And I think this is going to be a long game. We've got Jessica Jones, Power of Justice, Lockjaw, and an Army of Ants. So we'll start with bringing in the Helicarrier. We can make our next card 1 cheaper to bring in an Army of Ants. If we're in tiny form, exhaust this to deal damage to an enemy. And then Skilled Investigator, play under any player's control. As a hero response after a side scheme is defeated, exhaust this to draw a card. So we are going to flip to our tiny form, remove a threat from a side scheme, and then thwart for 2. That's going to get rid of a side scheme. We can draw a card, Pym Particles, and we can attack for 1. Down to 15. End our turn. We'll keep the particles, drawing 4 more. Counterintelligence, Agent Coulson, and a couple lay down the laws. We add a threat. Get another side scheme. Censor the past. When defeated, each player chooses up to 3 cards in their discard pile and shuffles them into their deck. And it starts with 3 threat on it. And he's going to attack for base 2. We're just going to take it. 3 damage. Down to 9. Get another encounter card. So we've got a Flame Soldier, scheme of 1, attack of 1 with 4 health. After he makes an undefended attack against you, discard a support you control. And place 2 threat on each side scheme in play. Spreading some laws. So go ahead and have our ants attack for 1. Next card's going to be 1 cheaper. We'll bring in Agent Coulson. After he enters play, we can search our deck and discard pile for a preparation card and add it to your hand and shuffle our deck. We're also playing Pym Particles. That's going to let us draw a card. So go ahead and draw first, finding Nick Fury. Then finding a preparation card. None in there. Must have already discarded it. Yep, Spycraft. So we are going to flip to hero form. Or I'm sorry, giant form, dealing a damage to an enemy. Then along with doing that, after you change form, remove 4 threat if we paid for this using a mental resource, which we are. Then we have Coulson thwart for 2. So we can choose up to 3 cards in their discard pile and shuffle them into our deck. So Pim Particles, probably Jessica. And I guess another lay down the line. So we'll shuffle those in here, and then we're going to exhaust that so we can draw another card. Finding a Wasp. And we're going to use her to put Spycraft in play. So when you reveal an encounter card, discard this, cancel the effects of that card, and discard it, then reveal another from the encounter deck. Swing for 3 to get rid of the soldier. End our turn. We're going to keep Nick Fury, drawing 3 more cards. Army of Ants, Risk Gauntlets, and a Giant Strength. A threat. End up with a Hydra Patrol. When defeated, each player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a Hydra minion and put it in play. Shuffle the encounter deck. That gets 2 threat. Then he's going to attack for base 2. We'll defend. So attaching to him. So 3 damage coming in. We've got a defense of 3. We're good. Then Insight 1 attached to a side scheme. When the side scheme's defeated, we get an encounter card. So for our turn, Coulson is going to take care of this. So a couple things happen. So we defeated a side scheme, we get to draw a card to a helmet. Then we're getting a counter card, and we're going to go find a Hydra minion to put in play. And there's at least one small guy in here. There we go, Hydra regular. He's got insight, but he's not being revealed. Just put in place. Scheme of 1, attack of 2, and 2 health. We're going to make our next card 1 cheaper. I'm going to bring in Nick Fury and use his ability to draw 3 cards. Sorry about that, Ants. Strength, Hive Mind, and Spider-Man. Then with that, we're going to put in our helmet. So as a hero response, after you change to giant form, we heal 2 damage. Changing to tiny form, we draw a card. So we'll change to tiny form, removing a threat, drawing a card. We'll let our ants do 1 damage. Then we're going to resize, change to our other form, and draw a card. So changing back to this form allows us to do a damage. Getting rid of that guy. We'll also heal 2 up to 11. And we're drawing the card into Jessica Jones. And it's going to end her turn. We have 2 allies in hand, and I can't play them both next turn, so we'll pitch Spider-Man, drawing 3 more cards. Energy, Ants, and Giant Strength. So go up to 3. Hydra Reinforcements. When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme discards a non-elite minion, but it is going to get us another encounter card. So we have 3 this round. It's going to attack for base 2. Well, 3. We'll defend. Give the villain a tough status card and another boost card. Exhaust a character you control. So 3 damage, 3 defense, we're good. 1 encounter card, 1 more. Discard an upgrade or support you control. If no cards were discarded this way, this card gains Surge. These are all too good. What we're going to do is discard this as an upgrade instead of using it. Next, we're going to get 2 more encounter cards. First one, it's also a character you control for each side scheme. We're already all exhausted. Get a Flame Soldier and another Flame Soldier. So we will make the next card we play 1 cheaper. Bringing in Jessica Jones. She gets +1 thwart for each side scheme to play, so she's got a thwart of 2. Get rid of the reinforcements, which allows us to draw a card into For Justice. We will put a damage on one of these guys. Make sure we're not in that form. Never mind. So we'll flip, draw a card, pin particles, then we can put a damage on one of those. Bring in some ants with our pin particles, which lets us draw a card. Under surveillance, put another damage on one of those. Then we'll do some surveillance work. Attach to the main scheme, increase the threat value of 4. End our turn, and draw 5. Daredevil, Genius, Resize, Quake, and a Giant Stomp. We get a threat. Next side scheme is Waking Up the Sleeper. Guard, Retaliate 1 and Toughness. When defeated, remove Sleeper from the game. Then he's going to attack for base 3. Agent Coulson will defend. 4/5. This guy attacks for 1, we defend. This guy attacks for 1, we defend. That guy attacks for 3, we take it. Then Insight 1. So it gets attached to a side scheme. So when the side scheme is defeated, deal the first player an encounter card. See, when the sleeper is defeated, remove. So it's getting attached, but it's not going to trigger the way I'm reading it. All right, for our next turn, Ants. Take care of him. Actually, maybe not. So 1 ant will get rid of Toughness. The other ant will put 1 on him. We will flip to our giant form. Dealing a damage over there and healing 2. Make our next card 1 cheaper. So we will Giant Stomp. Deal 1 damage to each minion and deal 8 damage to an enemy. So first we deal a damage to each minion. That takes care of this one. Put 1 on him. 1 on him. Retaliates for 1. We're down to 9. Then deal 8 damage to an enemy. We're going to get rid of the sleeper. So when he's defeated, we remove him from the game. just to make sure I'm reading this right. When the sleeper is defeated, remove this card from the game. So we're not defeating it, so we can't use that on it, and this won't trigger. That's the way I view it until someone tells me differently. Then we're going to resize, change to our other form, and draw a card. So that's going to remove a threat. We'll draw a card for that, and draw a card for this, pimp particles, and lay down the lull. We'll then put in Quake. Thwart of 1, attack of 2. Let's see. After a minion schemes, exhaust her to deal 2 damage to that minion. Also, we're in tiny form, so we're going to draw a card. Getting Power of Justice. Swing for 2. I think that's all I can do this round. Take that as a success. I'll go ahead and keep those, drawing 3 more. Get us an encounter card. That's not a good sign. Lay down the Law, Mockingbird, and a Quinn Carrier. So go up to 4. Mass Chaos. Oh yeah, guess we got to shuffle this first. Before Mass Chaos begins. So with this, we're discarding 5 cards, and we're placing a threat here for each different type of resource, and that's going to block us from removing threat here. All right, so we've got 3 different types. Then attacking for a base 3, we have Quake take it. So give the villain a tough status card and another boost. He's already tough. 4/5. So Quake didn't make it. Counter card. Hail Hydra. Each Hydra minion engaged with a hero makes an attack against that hero. Each player who was not attacked this way searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a Hydra minion, puts it into play, engaged with them, and shuffles the encounter deck. Don't think we're going to need to shuffle the encounter deck because we're not going to touch it. We're going to bring this guy in. And then Master Strategist. Attach a red skull. When he activates, give him an additional boost card for each scheme in play. Each side scheme. Then discard that. All right, we're going to use our ants. One damage here. 1 on toughness. We're going to thwart for 2. And then she's going to thwart for 2, which gets rid of her. We took care of a scheme. Lets us draw a card into Spider-Man. Then we're going to bring in a Quinn Carrier. Those 3. Make your next card 1 cheaper. Bring in Daredevil with the Power of Justice and the Quinn Carrier, which we can play as long as we're an Avenger. And exhaust that to generate a wild resource. And then after he thwarts, deal damage to an enemy. So we'll have him thwart for 2. Which will finish off the regular. Then we will flip to our other form, dealing a damage, which bypasses the retaliate. Oh, wait. Yeah, he doesn't have retaliate. I'm sure he'll find it soon. We also heal 2 damage up to 7. And end our turn, drawing 4 cards. So we've got Genius, Resize for Justice, and another Resize. All right, threat. Last scheme is Prison Camps. When defeated, a player defeated the scheme, searches their deck and discard pile for an ally, puts it into play and shuffles their deck. And it comes out with 3 threat on it. Then he's attacking for 1, 2, some more. Yeah, I guess we're going to defend with Daredevil. So it's 1, 2, 3, For 5. If you're in hero form, the villain attacks you after this activation. Do not deal any boost cards. All right. So he's down. Then he's attacking for base 3. We'll defend against to take 0 damage. Then an encounter card. The villain schemes. That's not cool. So base 4. 5, 6. So we're up to 9 out of 12. All right, first, Helicarrier. Next card's cheaper for Justice. We'll use this to make it a mental resource so we can remove 4 threat from a scheme. We're just going for 3 though. To get Prison Camps, player defeated the scheme, searches their deck and discard pile for an ally, puts it into play and shuffles their deck. I think I want Nick Fury. We'll bring him in and draw 3 cards. Lockjaw, Risk Gauntlets, and Heroic Intuition. We're going to resize, change to our other hero form, and draw a card. So remove threat, draw a card for that, draw a card for this. So we've got a Hive Mind and lay down the law. Army of Ants, swings for 2, down to 12. We're going to resize again, changing to our large form. And this thing's getting some use, which deals a damage. Oh, we draw a card for that to a giant stomp, and we heal 2 up to 9. Then we're going to bring in some Risk Gauntlets. So as a hero action, if we're in giant form, we can exhaust this and spend 2 physical resources to stun an enemy. If we're in tiny form, do the same thing, but spending 2 energy resources to confuse an enemy. So we're in giant form, spending 2 physical resources, stunned. Then we're going to do a giant stomp. We're in giant form, do 1 damage to each minion and 8 damage to an enemy. Oh, no minions in play. So 8 damage here, he's down to 3. We'll attack for 2. Down to 1. And then we've just flipped here with our resize abilities. So we're going to use that to flip back to tiny form. Remove a threat, draw a card. So we've got some tactics. He does have a damage. So ready everything up. Without Wasp, that's no good. So we'll discard that, drawing 5 cards. Agent Coulson, Spycraft, Ants, Counterintelligence, and lay down the law. We go up to 8. We're going to take these and shuffle. Oh, that's not nearly enough. So we'll see which ones I discarded improperly. There we go. That's worth shuffling. And our lucky new side scheme is the Sleeper Awakened, which shouldn't be in there because we've already defeated him. So next on the list is Prison Camps. So if we defeat that, we go looking for an ally. Goes to attack, loses stunned, and place 2 threat on each side scheme in play. And it goes away, but it was there just in case. So we're going to play Army of Ants to get a preparation card in our discard pile. Army of Ants to get rid of the first version of Red Skull. So stats a little bit tougher to hit. 20 health, and we get an encounter card. Then Hitting for 2 more, down to 18. Thwarting for 2. The next card we play is going to be 1 cheaper. We are going to flip over, which is going to do a couple things. We're going to deal a damage. We're going to heal 2. And we're going to lay down the law. So this costs 1 less. To change form, remove 3 threat from a scheme. So the prison camps go away. We go looking for an ally to put in play. And once again, Nick Fury seems like the best chance. So we're going to draw 3 cards with him. Strength, Pym Particles, and Wasp. Well, the strength is perfect. We'll spin those 2 to stun an enemy. Let's see here. Swinging for, well, let's deal with a little threat. And I did get to draw a card with that. Giant Strength. So since we have a shield or a spy character in play, we'll bring in Spycraft. Play only if you have a spy character. When you reveal an encounter card, discard Spycraft, cancel the effects of that card, discard it, then reveal another one. And we're going to heal 2 damage, or in this case 1. Then we're going to bring in Wasp with the help of the Quinn Carrier. After she enters play, deal 2 damage to an enemy if you're in giant form. We are. So take him down to 15. And swinging for 2, or we're going to thwart for 2. Just afraid that's going to get a boost somehow and I don't want it to. Ending her turn. Drawing 4 cards. First we'll get 1 Pym Particles, counter card, and shuffle. I'm getting 3 more cards. Power of Justice, Mockingbird, and Agent Coulson. So go up to 5. Mass Chaos. We're discarding 5 cards. And we only have 2 different resource types. Things run our way there. Goes to attack, loses stun. We're already getting 3 encounter cards though. First one, Infinite Power. Give Red Skull a tough status card and Red Skull attacks you. So Nick Fury will take this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. Master Plan. Place 4 threat on each side scheme. And a Hydra Soldier with Guard. So we're going to go ahead and flip to tiny form. Removing a threat from a scheme. Drawing a card into a resize. We can deal damage to 1 enemy. That goes around guard. So get rid of toughness. Let's put the other 2 on him. Thwart for 2. We'll bring in Agent Coulson. So after he enters play, we find a preparation card, and since we're in tiny form, we're going to draw a card. So first we'll draw into another Pym Particles. Whoops, he comes into play though. So our other preparation card is Counterintelligence. We're going to make our next card 1 cheaper. Use the Quinn Carrier and Pym Particles to pay for Mockingbird. After she enters play, stun an enemy. We're going to draw another card. Stunned. Drawn to Heroic Intuition. She's going to thwart for 1. Agent Coulson's thwarting for 2. To get rid of Mass Chaos, we get to draw a card into Hive Mind. Wasp will swing for 2. That gets us an encounter card. We will play Hive Mind. Play only if you're in tiny form. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. +1 for each army of ants you control. We've got 3, so we're moving 5 threat. Then we're going to resize. Giant form deals a damage down to 14. Healing 2 is not going to help us. We do draw a card just to see if we want to keep it or not. Lockjaw. Nope. End our turn and discard. Probably would have been better to hold on to that, but I don't like holding cards in my hand unless I have to. So drawing 4. Lay down the Law for Justice, a Giant Stomp, and the Power of Justice. Threat. Side Scheme, Center of the Past. So when we defeat that, we get to put 3 cards in their discard pile back into our deck. Got him on lockdown. So we're just dealing with some counter cards. The villain attacks you. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, Wasp will take it. 7 damage. Next card. Got a Hydra Exo Soldier with toughness, 5 health, 2 scheme, 2 attack. Alright, this guy does not have guard. Well, wrong form to use our ants. Okay. Next card's 1 cheaper. So we're going in with a Giant Stomp. Play only in giant form. Deal 1 damage to a minion, then 8 damage to an enemy. So remove toughness. Take him down to 6. Then swing for 3. Flip to our tinier form, which removes a threat. Doesn't matter from where. And the ants, all 3 of these go in for the kill. So that's Red Skull on expert mode with Ant-Man using the Power of Justice. And for deck construction, we have 2, the Power of Justice, 3, Lay Down the Law, Skilled Investigator, Under Surveillance, Counterintelligence and Spycraft because of a certain ally I have coming up, Heroic Intuition. For Justice, Agent Coulson to go looking for those preparation cards. Jessica Jones, Quake, Daredevil, and Spider-Man. And for basic cards, Genius, Energy, and Strength, Helicarrier, Quinn Carrier, Mockingbird, Lockjaw, Nick Fury, and Swarm Tactics. And that's my build for taking care of Red Skull. As always, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. If so, please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.